Hello, everybody, and thanks for coming back to the Velo podcast. My name is Mike Levy, and I'm going to kick this episode off with a confession for you guys. Of course, I like riding my bike outside. That's where you're supposed to ride your bike. But there are times when I might love riding indoors almost as much. Like right now, for example, because it's been cold and raining for the last week, and it's probably not going to change much for the next 7 or 8 months, which is I think that's like 30 weeks or something. But my legs have to keep turning despite me being made of sugar. So today we're going to dive into indoor training with Merrick Martin Matyska. He's a product director at the realistic cycling app that is Rouvy. Now, Rouvy is a sponsor of this podcast. I'm not trying to sneak anything past you guys, but I am also looking forward to nerding out over indoor training, some of the augmented reality tech that Rouvy uses to make it look like you're actually out there. And also, we're going to dig into their new Route Creator feature, which is pretty neat. Merrick, thanks for hanging out with me. Where in the world are you? And what does a product director at Rouvy do? Tell me about your job.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to do a podcast in English. I haven't done one yet. So, hello, everyone. I'm Merrick Martin Matyska. I'm the product director at Rouvy. And, where I am, I'm in my living room, surrounded by way too many bikes, as my girlfriend likes to say. And the question is, what does a product director do? Well, my core responsibility is to drive the product vision of Rouvy. And basically, the hardest thing in software development compared to, let's say, architecture or real life development is that you can actually build anything. There is no gravity. There is nothing that limits you. And the hardest part is to define what you actually want to build and what the users want you to build. So I would say the big part of my job is saying no to people around me and keeping the vision straight.
People come to you with all sorts of good ideas, maybe some bad ideas, maybe some crazy ideas, and you're the guy who says yes or no, it sounds like.
I hope it's not as that simple, but it doesn't have to be people. It can be people, it can be our users, which I can meet outside when I'm riding. It can be people inside the company. It can be the leadership. It can be basically whoever, or it can be the users. And my job is to define whether what they are proposing actually makes sense. Does it make the product better? Is it something we should build, or is it something that will help one user and we will ignore the 200,000 users? So it's really about setting the priorities and setting the vision straight, so we don't end up building something that nobody uses. And we drive a lot of passion in user feedback. So it's a lot of the time it's about gathering information around you, whether it's from data, whether it's from surveys, whether it's from personal interviews, and then making the decision. And ultimately, there has to be one head to blame. And I would say that's the role of the product director.
Okay, that makes sense. So I would imagine that somebody that works at Rouvy, indoor training company, you have a pretty nice setup for riding indoors. Am I right? What does it look
Well,
like? What kind of hardware do you use, actually?
So I mean, like, I try to test things because my responsibility is to understand like the different trainers and different what people use. Like, right, a big part of my job is to understand what other people are doing. But currently, like my personal trainer, which I have, is the Tax X Neo 2. And one of the key reasons why I actually use it is because it's cordless. It doesn't have to be plugged into the power. And because I have my trainer in the middle of my living room, so there doesn't have to be the AC cord covering it, and I will not trip around it. So that's what I use. I use a big TV. I have it connected to Apple TV, but I mostly switch between either I have a documentary on the big TV and I have Rouvy on
Yeah.
the MacBook, or the other way around. I have something on the MacBook and I have the big screen on the Rouvy on the big screen. So I can try to juggle between things, but it's the most stable setup that I have.
Yeah, okay. I have gone too far this winter, I have to admit. Currently, I'm looking right now, I use a gaming computer.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually bought it for a flight sim that I never use, but I use the indoor trainer all the time. But using the gaming computer, obviously you get like such good graphics. And then I also have a big curved monitor.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh man. So you could full screen Rouvy, and you could also full screen your whatever you want to watch, your documentary, something to hype you up. It's pretty good. And then it's not here yet, but I did just order a Wahoo Kicker Bike Pro, which I am.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
cannot
already
wait.
have, like, I have a quite small living room, generally small apartment. I already have 5 bikes here. So getting like a kicker bike, I think that would be the end of me. And I also
Yeah.
like to switch between the bikes that I have on the trainer. So currently I have the rim brake bike because it gets really wet outside. So I don't ride it anymore outdoors. And I ride my disc brake bikes. So I kind of shuffle things around. But yeah, I think especially for Ruby having the big screen and let's say on Apple TV, which is seamless, it runs perfectly fine on the highest graphics. It's really important because then you can enjoy the scenery of the real routes that we have. And the big differentiator compared to our competitors is that the video actually matters. It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy usually not suffering uphill because then I just look at my legs. But not just me, but a lot of our users actually like to ride downhill as well, which is quite unheard of on indoor training. And
Yeah.
if you imagine you are on some amazing hill, I know some Monte Zoncolan or Alpe d'Huez, and you can actually ride it downhill and enjoy the scenery. Now the big TV actually makes sense. And yeah, my colleagues make a lot of fun of me because I really like downhill routes, but hey, each to their own.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I have a couple friends that I think this is a sign that they're kind of crazy. They do indoor training with nothing. Nothing. And they will spend like 2 hours on the trainer just killing themselves and they're not looking at anything and I've like more power to those people, but I don't have the mental strength. I definitely need to have something on. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I've found this kind of interesting because Ruby has a partnership with Ironman. So part of my job was to traveling to some of the Ironman sites and speak with the triathletes. I was really curious, like how do they train, what do they train? And I was just recently, 2 months ago in Zell am See, and I spoke with like 50 triathletes, and half of them were training just on their Garmin computer. They're training just on the indoors, or just they were not using any visuals. So I mean, to each their own. But over 250,000 people that are using Rouvy seems like we are doing something right, and we hope that that number will grow.
Yeah, yeah. The people that just stare at their Garmin, those are the same people that can do transatlantic flights without watching a movie. Like they're just staring at the back of the seat. Like,
I
how
actually,
do you do that?
I actually heard a student that it's not even healthy to do that on the transatlantic flights.
Oh
That
yeah,
you
definitely
should
not.
distract yourself somehow, otherwise your brain will turn off.
Yeah. All right, just before we get into the realism and all the tech behind Rouvy, the Rouvy name as we know it came about in 2017, I think, but the building blocks for this thing were around much longer than that. I did a little bit of research, just a little bit, and Rouvy apparently was founded by two brothers, Peter and Yuri, in the Czech Republic, and they were working on this stuff way back in 2000, 2006, the internet told me, which is like crazy, you know? From your perspective, obviously you weren't with Rouvy way back then, but like when I think of that, it's sort of like, you know how when people compare like the Apollo computers to your iPhone and the computing power that's changed and it's allowed you to do some crazy stuff. I imagine, I mean, if you compare what they were doing back in 2006 to 2012 to now, it's been a crazy journey, I would assume.
I mean, it's definitely a crazy journey. And basically, how it all started is that Petr and Izzy, which are the co-founders of Rouvy, the two brothers, they were actually semi-professional mountain bikers. And they were trying to solve their own problem, which was indoor cycling was boring as hell. But even before that, they actually founded a company called Sportsoft, which tracks races. And it's still to this date, it operates and it tracks 80% of all races in Czech and Slovakian Republic or the real life races that we all do during the summer. And then they've kind of started venturing, okay, what we will do next. And they started, okay, well, we have this our own problem. They are trying to solve their own passion because training indoors was boring during the winter. They were just looking into the wall. So they started exploring what they can do, right? So it started with just some training screens with some hard data. Then a bit later, what came is just streaming of a video. And then around 2017, they started experimenting with the augmented reality, which you know now in Rouvy, which is basically allowing you to have your own avatar in the real life scenery. And that allows for basically multiplayer and the experience you have now. But it's honestly absolutely fascinating. I joined the company 3 years ago, and to have one of the market leaders being from a very small city at the border in Czech Republic, founded by two brothers, basically out of nowhere, it's a fascinating startup story, and it's a pleasure experience to not only see it grow, but hopefully help it grow.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I mean, not a hometown story, but it is sort of like a neat sort of local Czech story. These two brothers started this thing, and now look where it is, and now you're working for them. Where did the name come from? Rouvy. What
So,
does it mean, and what is it? Yeah.
so I mean, this is the biggest irony. I think enough, at this moment, all the podcast listeners will jiggle a bit. It actually doesn't mean anything, and that was the
What?
whole point. That was the whole point, because when it doesn't mean anything, and you start building the brand around it, it actually you are not competing with anyone, right? You're not competing with indoor cycling, whatever. It's just Rouvy, and if you are confident you can build it really big, then Rouvy stands for itself, and there is nothing around it. Rouvy is a made-up word. It doesn't translate into anything. It was just a big bet back then in that Rouvy will be big, and Rouvy will essentially give Rouvy meaning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does actually make sense. It's like a word you're only ever going to associate with Rouvy. It literally only means Rouvy.
And now it seems genius, right? Now it seems genius.
Yeah.
Back then it was a big bet, and I think like I have an enormous pleasure to work with Petter, the CEO, for the last 3 years. And one thing that I'm 100% confident, he's ready for big bets. We've done it in the past. They've done it before I even joined, and it's one of the key growing factors of why we are successful. Is because we are constantly pushing the boundaries of not just indoor cycling, of how we structure the teams. We are not conventional in any way.
Yeah, no, not so much. Not so much. Let's talk about the thing that actually sets you guys apart. The super realism. It's like actual video routes out there of you riding, of people riding. I guess like my first question would be, in a lot of ways, that to me is probably I mean, I don't know anything about computers, but that's like a harder thing to me to get going than building something yourself. You know, you need to get all these video routes and all this stuff. So back in the early days, or even now, like before we get into the tech, what I guess are some challenges for making it look like this? It just seems, it seems technologically advanced is the way I would put it.
I can completely get that. Get a thing about it that you just mentioned, because when I joined Ruby, my background is in games development. I was a game designer for 9 years. I was making mobile games, PC games, and when I joined Ruby, I had a really hard time explaining to my friends what do I do now, because it's not a video game. It's not just some fitness app, it's something in between. And then at one point, we created this corner breaking video, and I just went around to my friends. I said, look, we have this real life video of person going downhill on a road bike, and then we have the same thing in the app, and you can experience that. And it was just split screen like we have here on the podcast, and you can see it next to each other. And I said, look, we do magic. That's my best explanation of what we do. Right, so we
Yeah.
allow you to experience what's outside into as realistic as possible inside, and it's enormous challenge. There's a challenge with the amount of streaming video. There was a huge challenge to build the algorithms and the processing so it looks like now. There is a reason, like just this year we bought two of our competitors, Full Gas in January and Be Cool in mid-June, which were doing basically the same but on a, let's say, less level. They were trying to do what Rouvy does, but they were not as successful as we are. And it's the magic of the team. We have enormously skilled technological team, and that allows us to basically create magic. That's the best explanation I can give.
Yeah, that's sort of what it looks like. And the way you described it is like not a video game, but also like not, I mean, it is video footage, but it's like this combination of the two things that sort of makes you not forget that you're sitting on a trainer, but it does sort of like take you away, which is, I mean, rollers and trainers have been around almost as long as bikes, and I think all that time people have been trying to stay entertained. So this is a pretty interesting way to do it.
I think it's like one of our core USPs is that we want to bridge the indoor and outdoor experience, right? We are very committed that cyclists should ride outside, and Rouvy is here to help you ride outside better. And we believe that taking real routes and being able to train on them or prepare on them during the winter season or whenever you need, or when it's raining outside, is what will make you better outside. Our mission is to help you become a better cyclist, not for you to sit at home 24/7 and ride just indoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
and this is our and this is our commitment, right? So this is something that we are actively working on. It's one of the reasons why Rouvy even allows pausing your subscription during the summer break, because we know that cyclists want to ride outside during the summer in the Europe or the other sides of the world, because we are completely fine. We are cyclists as well. 90% of Rouvy employees actually actively ride. So we understand the need to ride, or the desire to ride outside, and we don't want to go against it. We want to support it.
yeah, yeah. Okay. As a video game designer in a previous life, is it so you have to explain this to me like I'm a border collie. I don't know anything about computers basically. As a video designer, video game designer, is it harder? Would it be more difficult to make like a video game version of this sort of thing, or is it more difficult to do this real life looking videos that you guys use, you know?
I think both have their own unique challenges, and we see it on the market. I think once we have the huge advantage that Rouvy has, and I assume we will speak about it later, is now that we have everything up and running. We have a great streaming service. We have all the technology behind. Now it's very easy for us to create new routes, right? But we had to get all that technological stack running. So now we move really quickly, and we can add thousands and thousands of kilometers every month. However, if you would build it in a video game, like some of the competitors, it actually is easier to start because you can just draw your own worlds and make it digitalized completely. But then it gets much slower because you need actually like real people creating real worlds. You can streamline it. And we see like Rouvy is able to increase the amount of routes and kilometers and mileage that you can write on Rouvy much faster than our competitors, because we kind of invested in the beginning and now we profit from the technology compared to it make it easier at the start, and then it's kind of harder to make additional islands and whatnot in the full 3D space.
Yeah. It's almost like you guys had this great idea and a lot of know-how, but the technology has to catch up. And then when the technology catches up, it's like, boom, doors
Yes.
open and you
Yeah.
could do whatever you want.
And there's a very nice thing that will kind of help everyone to understand it, is that back in the days you needed to have a really specific stable camera, right, to record the routes that we then digitalize through our proprietary software. Nowadays you can put a GoPro 11 without any mount. I literally did it on one of the bikes that I have here. You can put it on your carbon road bike, which has no pressure sampling or anything, and it's still stable because the technology is so far ahead now. Is that I can record the routes on my road bikes. We have no dampening, nothing. That wasn't possible 5 years ago, so you need to have a lot of tech now. Now that the camera tech has catched up, and that allows us to expand our digital library a lot.
Okay. So before we started recording, I think you said 70,000 kilometers?
Yes.
Okay.
So
my question first is, does somebody from Rouvy have to go out and record all that? Where does all this video footage come from?
So it actually, like originally, we have, and we still do, we have our own internal route team, which is a bunch of talented guys that travel the world and record our routes, or whether it's by car or motorbikes, and they travel all over the world. And we still keep that, and they
Cool
were
job.
responsive. Yeah, it's a very great job. We call it.
I want that.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but it's actually not. It looks better than when you actually have to do it, because imagine that you will travel to some beautiful location like, I don't know, New Zealand, and then you
Yeah.
arrive there and it's just raining and you cannot record. You just have to wait before it stops raining. So for the big first part of Rouvy's existence, or let's say up till early 2025, all of the routes were recorded either by our partners or they were recorded by our internal route team. Let's say 90% of them. But now we spent the bigger part of last year, one of our development teams spent with creating something that's called Rouvy Route Creator, and that enabled to every single one of our subscribers. All you need to do is having a paying subscription, and you can record your own routes. You send them to us through our software, and we digitalize them for you automatically. And then basically all the users can help us digitalize the entire world. And that's something that's been super amazing for me to see, because as I said, since the start of the year, it's over 25,000 kilometers of route were actually done by our users. They are helping us and the other users to ride anywhere on the world.
So the people using Rouvy are actually also helping to grow
Yes.
Rouvy as well.
Yes, because like there's a multiple reasons why that's amazing, right? Because as we get bigger and bigger, we have people from all over the world, from Taiwan to US to Hawaii, and they help us to digitize the routes there, right? So our team cannot be everywhere at the same time. That's one of the advantages. The second advantage, I'm sure you've ever experienced it. If you're for the first time you travel to Mallorca or to some really nice cycling destination and you don't know the routes, your trip sucks. Like you don't know where to go. Maybe you pick a route where there's too many cars, or you pick a
Yeah.
hill where it's always raining after lunchtime, and the trip is not pleasant. However, if you have a really good friend or a local which plans your ride, he can take you through the most beautiful routes. He can take you that you finish on that hill when there is a sunset. And that's a huge advantage. Now, when we gave that power to the users, they can actually sometimes create routes that are better than what we do because they know the local space much better than we.
Wow. Okay, I have many questions about the route creator we're going to get to, but first, are you also using any like Google video stuff? It just seems like there's so much video route out there to choose from.
So currently we don't. Currently everything is recorded by either us or the users. We
Oh,
are
wow.
always exploring where the technology will go. Of course, like we have to expand to keep on top because, as I said at the start, we have an amazing technological team and technological stack. So we are always looking like what are the possibilities. But as of now, everything is recorded. There's no digitalization or Google Maps or whatever.
Okay, well, that's a lot of work. I'm impressed.
But there's one thing to record a route, and there's one thing to record a specific route at a specific time and a specific weather, which makes it completely beautiful. And that's where the human element comes. It's a very creative process which differentiates a route and a beautiful experience.
Do people ever... So when I go to Rouvy, when I go to your website and I look at videos and stuff, all of the routes, beautiful weather, as you would like, beautiful sun. If I went out and rode a route in the rain and recorded it, does that work too?
So, I mean, the issue is now that the lens will get wet and it will not look great. We have experimented with sometimes. We have some route when it's raining. I would personally love it much more because it would make me very satisfied that I can ride indoors when it's raining on the video, but it's not actually raining on me. And I actually cycled today to work and it was super rainy in the morning. So I would have some pleasure from that. But we have very little about like such routes because it's technologically really difficult.
Yeah, okay. So all of these routes, again, this is probably a dumb question from someone that doesn't know much about computer things. Where do the routes live? Are they like in a cloud up there? Are they on the server? Could I access them offline? How does that all work?
So it's no secret. It's public information that we are in cooperation with Google's cloud. So we have all the routes on the cloud. So they are accessible for all of our users around the world. I assume there would be no other option to grow as fast as we did across the entire globe, as we have users from all over the world. So Google is our partner regarding cloud. And yes, we still do allow our users to download the routes offline. So download the files so they can write them. Because A, not all the people have the best internet in the world. B, there might be a lot of reasons. Maybe you download the routes in your living room, but your Wi-Fi doesn't allow you to write in the living room, and you have to go to the garage, and the Wi-Fi signal is not great there. Trust me, it's a lot of people have it that way.
I feel like you're talking directly to me.
Yeah, I have the luxury, so I can write in my living room. Not everyone can, for obvious reasons. So there's a lot of reasons and a lot of need for that. And as I said, we are here to support, so we still allow that.
I feel like that makes it very usable if you're somewhere in the world where your internet connection is super shit or whatever. You could still do your thing because it's downloaded, so it's always going to be there for you. Yeah,
And
that makes sense.
it's not just that. It's maybe it doesn't have to be completely shit, the internet connection. It just maybe doesn't support like really high quality video. And maybe you really want that high quality experience. So you download it in the morning when you go to work. And then after work, you have nothing to fear, nothing to struggle. A lot of our racers, people that actually do racing, they want to have as clean of experience as possible. So they just download the routes so they don't have the additional bandwidth. There's a lot of reasons why to do it. But usually it's the riding in the garage. That's the user. Why the users need it the most.
Yeah. Could I do a video route of a gravel road and upload that? Does that work?
I mean, absolutely. Like just today, we have a massive event that started with Lifetime Grand Prix in the US. and we have a lot of gravel routes coming to Rouvy. We understand that the segment is growing. We want to support it. Me personally, I'm not much of a gravel rider. I will be honest. I believe in 25 mil tires with 60 mil deep wheels, and I just want to go fast, ideally flat or downhill. But you can. It's absolutely fine. And we had some routes from the Kigali, from the World Championship, not just from the route, but also from the gravel routes around. And we have gravel routes from the US. And it's a demand that's growing.
I'm just speculating here, but let's say it's Unbound weekend, one of the biggest gravel races in the world. There's a pretty good chance that people have GoPro'd that entire course or like the important portions of it. I could theoretically put Unbound on live and also ride Unbound while watching the race, and I'm riding it on the literal course.
Yes, that's something that you definitely can do, and something I believe in a couple of years, something I call hybrid racing will eventually come. It's not there, it's not here yet. The technology is not there, but I can imagine that we will come to a point where you can ride a race outside and inside at the same time. Just like a good example of this, just this weekend there was the Ironman Kona, right? The most legendary route that the Ironmans everyone's looking for. There was a lot of people riding the Kona route during the Ironman Kona Championship and watching it on TV.
Holy
So
cow.
what you just described is already happening, and I think it will go once the technology catches up, it will go much farther than that. I think we will get to a point where we can both race. You will be indoors, I will be outdoors, and we can still race together.
Dude, this is like the future. It's sort of like a mixing, a melding, like you said, of like real world and fake world, and yeah, very cool. Interesting. Could I upload a trail? Like, I know it's not going to feel like a trail, but
Yet.
could I
Yet.
upload? Oh,
I
here we
think
go.
I think like because already some of the trainers on the more like higher spectrum, they already support Rouvy. It's something that we are actively looking into. Could you upload the trail? I mean, if the video is stable enough, yes. Historically, we had some non AR videos, which means it's just the video, it's not the avatars in the app. I actually wrote one of the trails myself, and I had to switch the TV because the turns were after like 5 kilometers or 5 meters, so my head was getting all spinny. But I think eventually we will get there, right? The technology will catch up. But I think it will be much harder to get all the MTB bikers and all the
Yeah.
mountain bikers and downhills to get to ride indoors. I think that will be the
Yeah.
real challenge, not just the technology.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to work at Pink Bike, like the mountain bike sister site for Velo. And I mean, I've loved indoor training for 20 years. I love riding indoors almost as much as outdoors. But when I was mountain biking at Pink Bike, those guys, that was not a popular subject. Nobody ever
Yeah.
wanted to talk about indoor training.
So I bought my first trainer in 2019 because I had a really bad bike crash. And I was looking into Zwift and into the other platforms for like 1 year, but it was really expensive back then just to get into the indoor cycling. And then when I first finally bought it, my entire social bubble, it's 2019, it's not that far ago, uh, was basically laughing at me. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like
Yeah.
the biking is outside, then you go for beers, and then you ride home, and that's what road biking is all about. It shouldn't be about you sweating indoors. So I was the weirdo back then, but I'm glad that I did it because it brought me here now.
Yeah. I think back, wow, geez, I don't even know, more than 10 years ago now, way farther than that. I got a Zwift membership, and none of my friends did, and nobody in my little riding crew did. And we used to do these spring races. You'd show up, you'd pay $2. It's not like a real race, but it's spring training race. And every spring, I would die. Like literally, I would like finish like 80th or something, And then I started indoor training, and I didn't tell anybody. And I showed up to this thing, the first
That's
spring
evil.
race. Yeah,
That's evil.
exactly. I started doing this, and I showed up to the first race, and I started riding. And I remember we were like 15 minutes in, all these punchy hard climbs, and then it opens up into a field, and I look behind me, and I thought I was holding everybody up. I look behind me, not a single person
Yep.
behind me. I love indoor training for that reason right there, because it makes the outdoor so much better.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
my experience was that I'm on the heavier side of road cyclists. Let's be completely honest. But I really like to make my friends or people that ride with me suffer on the flats.
don't we
And
all?
the big advantage of indoor cycling, especially for me, I live in the city, so I do a lot of my riding is actually just going to work, going from work, going somewhere, and then I have to return. And you have a lot of start and ride pauses when you ride in the city, right? There's the red light, there's the car, there's I don't curve. There's a lot of moments when it's basically sprint stop, sprint stop. It's basically small interval training just to get home. And when I
Yeah.
first started riding a lot on the indoor, it was the first time I was like riding for 2 3 hours straight for certain amount of power, and then just translated into so much. And I think that's one of the reasons again why we believe that like indoor is there to make your outdoor riding better, not to replace it. And we everything we try to do is to basically make your outdoor cycling season better. And we are actively pushing to those boundaries. Like till now, Rouvy was basically the indoor cycling platform, right? We expanded with the Rouvy route creator. We allow you to record the routes. And the next like development frontier that we are focusing on is basically providing you with all year value. So we're trying to help you train even when you are trying outdoors and basically modulating your training around what you do outdoors, or basically saying maybe the workout that we planned for you, that you have in your training plan that we did with cooperation, I know, with with Visma Lead the Bike or Lead the Trek, maybe you don't have to do it on Rouvy. Maybe you can just ride outside. And that's the next part. Like we want to bridge the outdoor and indoor in all of the aspects.
Yeah. Let's dig into the route creator thing because this is some pretty neat stuff. Uh, but, I mean, it is exactly what it sounds. You could create your own route, but can you give me a sort of brief how to? How does this thing work, and what does it do?
Right. So the root crate, after we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we developed it across the last year. We released it in like soft release in January and then proper release in March. And basically what it allows that once you pay Ruby subscription, it's for any single user. You can take GoPro camera. Currently, we support only GoPros, but we are expanding into Instax and others. It was just the first natural choice. You can pick it on your bike, on your car, or on whatever device that actually moves at least a little bit quick and is stable. And you can record the route, and then you basically enter it into the Rouvy route creator editor, and you send the route for us to processing. So we look at the route, if it's quality, if it's not trembling a lot, if it makes sense, we process it and then we actually allow you to edit the route. So you can maybe add some furniture, you can add the gates for racing, you can get not the dragons but you can add a lot of things. You can add. We are still trying to be on the realistic side, but I know you can add a helicopter. And you can also cut the pieces where basically what happens, right? You ride outside with the camera on and you get a red light. So you can cut up the space where you were on the red light, so the video is actually flowing naturally. And our editor is there to help, so it advises you what to do. And basically, once you have all that, where your start is, where your furniture is, where everything is set up, the lighting, where the riders go, you can then submit it. And then if everything goes smoothly in a couple of days, you can open Rouvy and write your own route. And it's a
Okay.
very funny story. Like once I finally got through testing and once we were quite far in the development, I actually recorded a route that was from my place to my favorite pub, just for the testing purposes. It was one of the first processed routes from non-internal users.
I like it. Is that route still online? Can I ride
I
it?
just it's just private for me, but maybe we can deal
Ah,
something out. Maybe we can figure it out.
okay. We're going to talk about dragons and helicopters in a minute. We're going to get to the augmented reality stuff. But first, as someone who likes to make their riding buddies hurt when they ride with them, that's a big part of training, you know? It's one of the reasons why we train. This seems like the ideal way to, like, you could go out and you can record let's call it a race course, and you could go home, literally ride the exact course that you're going to race your buddies on. Not
Absolutely.
like, not just the resistance. It's not just the resistance that matches your hills. Like, it's literally the exact same race course. Like, talk
Yes.
about perfect race training.
I mean, it's especially like important if you let's think about some criterions or some really curves with a lot of turns, right? So you cannot steer on Rouvy yet, but you can actually, because you have the video, you have the resistance, you have a good understanding of how each turn looks, and you can prepare for it. Rouvy actually has automated braking system. So the how you ride outside should be comparable and is comparable to how you will ride it inside. So you can do exactly what you said. If you have a race with your mates in 6 months, just take your camera, record the route. You can train for 6 months. You can smoke your friends. I mean, then that's our job. We are here to help. And like, what happens next? Your friends will come to join Rouvy, and will smoke you back.
Yes, and the circle continues,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It never ends. Yeah. As like if I'm not a professional rider, but like something that comes to mind would be like recon of a time trial course.
I mean, that it's many cases. I think one of the coolest that we had this year, as I mentioned before, we have a partnership with Visma Leasebike. And as so we are their partner, they use Rouvy sometimes for recon, sometimes for other purposes. But this year's Vuelta is not very unique because Victor Campersats couldn't actually finish in Madrid because he got injured. So what he did, he actually created a group ride for the last stage of Vuelta that we had, the finish to Madrid, and rode it with our users and his fans on Rouvy while Visma was getting to Madrid in real life. So it's not always just about preparing. It's also about us allowing our, whether it's professional athletes or influencers, connect with their user bases and basically make something amazing. So our like 400 users joined Victor Campersats on going from to the finish in La Vuelta 2025. And I mean, that goes back to what I was saying. We basically do magic. That's the best explanation I can give.
Very cool. Very cool. Does somebody, when I record a route, does somebody have to visually, like, not you personally, but would you be sitting there and you watch the entire route and make sure there's no, like, anything shitty on it that needs to be taken out or anything like that? Or
So a lot of the processing is now done automatically. So if it
okay.
would be shitty from the purpose of the video being in some way bad, as I said, trembling, or there should be bad cuts, we will just not allow it. That's one thing. The next part is that route will be only private to you and your friends. You can create your events on it, but the other users won't see it. And basically what we handpick the routes that are really nice. And yes, some of our internal guys actually watch the routes and check, okay, this route is amazing. Our users would profit from that. Or now we are finalizing the building of a tool that you record the route. It's great. And you can basically say, I want this route to be on Rouvy for everyone. I want everyone to see it. And then basically everyone does. But still, all the routes that are processed and do not fail in any like really terrific way are available to our users, but they actually have to like select, we want to see community routes. Because human creativity. And basically we have to protect our users from something really weird happening.
Yeah.
But we still want to allow that creativity, and we released it just this year, right? So we have, as I said, over 30,000 kilometers processed this year, and we are still learning like how to best showcase the authors, how to best protect our users, and it's a developing thing. It's exciting developing new animal that we have.
Yeah. I'm sort of picturing these route creator things. Like if you go to a 3D printing website, say Printables or Thingiverse or whatever, and you have users, like prolific users on there that are known for creating, a whole bunch of really high quality of this, or maybe they're known for doing this. I can sort of see Rouvy ending up like that, where maybe there's someone you follow who creates routes that you personally really, really like.
I mean, we already have those users. When I joined Rouvy, there was this Italian guy goes under the name of Mameke, and he was just doing the most amazing routes in Italy. I for the first, I don't know, couple of months, I was just completely in awe. It was like my transition from the other platforms to Rouvy when I joined, and I was just like, how is this even possible? So we already have some really cool, high skilled authors, and those authors already have some following and people that really like their routes, and they already create events just on the routes that they created, whether it's races or group rides. And it's something that we really want to build upon in the coming months and years.
Cool. Okay. And you touched on it earlier. The routes are editable. So let's say like I go out and in the first 10 minutes, I stop at Tim Hortons for a donut and a tea, and then I continue on my ride. I could delete that part of the ride before I upload it.
Well, you would actually have to. Like, we will tell you, I'm like, there's a long stop. I mean, like how it would look on Rouvy. So say, oh, hey dude, I mean, I know you love donuts, but it's not going to work for us. You have to skip the donut part, which is fine. We will cut it from where you ended and where you started. Uh, and it's because you will not have the donut break on the indoor, right? So
Maybe they
where
want
that
to come
video
to
will go.
donuts with me.
I
Hey?
mean that's right. I remember this one route from the early beginning. It was again just the video. It wasn't the AR. It was in the old tech, and that route basically I was cycling like 50 kilometers in one of the Czech hills, and
Yeah.
the video ended that the guy jumps out of the bike and goes to a pub and just waves at the camera. But it still had like 500 meters on the indoor trainer. So I was just still pedalling. And I got so mad. Like, I wanted to be that guy at that moment. I was still cycling indoors. So I think there's a lot of room. And it's, again, one of the advantages of actually working with real people, real videos, real
Yeah.
things that happen outside compared to just making something completely up. And another one really like funny and interesting part when we are about the route, it's not always about the editing, it's also about the magic that happens on the route during the recording. So I know for a fact that we have one specific route where there is, I think it's in Canada, where there's a fox running in front of the camera for like 1 kilometer.
Oh,
So we
very cool.
basically chase the fox, and there's like our users really love the routes where there's some unique experience with the animals, whether it's goats running alongside with the fox running in front of you. There's a lot of stuff happening. When you have 70,000 of kilometers of routes and hundreds and thousands of hours of videos, you will catch the real interesting things on the video. You don't always need to add up more digital stuff.
Okay. Well, speaking of interesting things in digital stuff, you guys also do augmented reality. So, uh, I have a bunch of crazy ideas, but first, let's talk about what you guys actually do. You could put in like race fencing. What else can you do?
So we have a lot of furniture. If basically, if either for users that want to create, or even when our own internal team wants to create a course that's for racing, we can put race fences, we can put the gates, we can put flamme rouge, and all of the things that you know from the TV. We can also put spectators, but again, we much more prefer the real stuff over digitalized, and we believe in reality. So we never try to overdo it. But of course, I mean, it's called Rouvy Root Creator, not Rouvy Root Reality. So we
Yeah.
allow people adding, I mean, we do have helicopters. I mean, who doesn't love a helicopter? We do have ambulances. We are now experimenting with sound, which is something that we are kind of behind. So you could go around a farm and then you just hear chickens and pigs. So there's a lot of things where we are experimenting, but as I said, no dragons yet.
Ah, dude, think of the possibilities though. So I'm I'm just picturing this. Think how motivated you would be on that hour-long climb if you were being chased by zombies.
I mean, I know one of our competitors that does it recently, right? uh, I think to each to their own. Actually, when we speak about superficial beings, now it comes to mind that Halloween is around the corner, and every year we do have a Halloween route with skeletons and spooky stuff and ghosts. So I mean, if you are into that, you can join us on during the Halloween event.
Another thing, let's say I want to ride some incredible climb in Europe, Mount Ventoux, whatever, some one of those things. But I want my family at the top. So when I come to the top, I could see like my family is there, not in real life, but their avatars are there to meet me or to cheer me on. Maybe they're on the side or something like that. Like the possibilities, obviously you couldn't just like open the doors because obviously there's people out there that are going to upload things that they maybe shouldn't be uploading. But man, think of the possibilities here.
I know, but like, yes, the possibilities are there. The questions are how many people at the top of the Mount Ventoux in their living room actually wants to see their family and not the shower. That's my question number one. And the other thing is, as I said at the
That's true.
start, the biggest danger of software development, if you can actually build anything you want, and every time you build something as unique as seeing your family on top of the hill, you are not maybe building the next generation of advanced training. Or maybe
Right.
support for more cameras. So you have to make those choices that are for the majority. But hey, who knows? Maybe we will digitalize your family and put it on every single course.
Yeah. That would be creepy.
That would be scary.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Could you add a ghost rider, like somebody to chase, whether that's yourself previously or maybe it's somebody slightly faster than you?
So we do allow bots or ghost riders, as you mentioned. We have a couple sets of ghost riders, let's call it. So first of all, we at any specific course that let's say that my favorite course on entire Rouvy is in Namibia desert. It's 46 kilometers and slightly downhill. It's like it has two turns, the entire road. There's a sand on the left, sand on the right. Nothing distracts you, and
We
you
got
can
a
just
time
hammer.
trialer here,
And
everybody.
yeah, and you can just hammer it out, right? So what's beautiful about Rouvy that if you go there tomorrow, you open it up and you can select a virtual partner. And virtual partner is essentially any other rider that you know. So you can put that my nickname and you can race me when I'm at work. We will put a ghost rider that will replicate how I've ridden it, my best PB, and you can race against myself. That's one of the like ghosts or virtual partners that we allow. Again, that's one.
Wow.
Then another thing we can do, if you've ever been on that route, we what we allow you is to race your personal best, right? So you know it from Strava or from any other platform. You can basically race yourself if you've ever been there before.
Very cool. Very neat. My mind immediately goes to comparisons. Like it's always neat when you get that reminder, like how fast a professional actually
Yeah.
is. It's crazy fast. And sometimes it's really cool to see that. Like you're going up your climb, and it would be neat to see like Victor, have Victor just blow by you. He's a ghost rider just for some perspective, just to
I mean,
get your
again,
doors blown off.
but the issue is you will see him for the first 10 seconds of the riding, and it will just be gone. One cool thing that we have around the corner that I'm really excited about, and like we have a release coming in less than 2 weeks, is something we call Rouvy segments. And what that means, imagine that we've been on a route, we've both ridden it, and I will go back there, and there will be a small sprint segment, right? I don't have to race you the entire course, but there will be just 500-meter sprint segment. And once I get there, all the people that I have in friends, we will spawn their avatars and I can raise them. And what we wanted to recreate with that is that, I mean, if you have friends on Strava, you chase yourself in the segments that Strava has, right?
Yeah.
And we wanted to put that into the next level, because what do you do on Strava? You write your course, then you check, was I better than my friends? So we want to give you that experience real time. We want you to raise them once you see them, not just as a number on your computer, on your Garmin or Wahoo. We want you to see Marek or whoever you are racing, and you can smash them in real time. And that's something that's coming. I'm really excited about it, because we will spawn your friends, we will spawn the segment leader, and that will really allow much more fun on the courses, because it's something you can look forward. You can have like your zone to race, zone to riding, and then the segment comes, you hammer it out 10 watts per kilo, you basically die, and then you see
yourself.
and then you see your friend smashing it up in the last second, and you kind of get angry, but you've experienced something. And it's really, I personally believe it's really important to fight the monotony of indoor training. And yes, you see, it goes right at the start. Why was Rouvy created? To fight the boredom of indoor training. And we are kind of still trying to enhance it in natural ways that our users already experience outside. We want to bring it to their living rooms or their garages.
Yeah, it's the things like that are the things that light the fire under the ass, aren't they? Like if I'm just staring at a blank screen and I have one more interval to go, I'm probably going to try to get through it. But if I'm racing my buddies and I have one more sprint section to go, I'm really going to go. I'm really going to try.
Yeah, I mean,
Motivation.
the course that I mentioned, the Souvlaki Desert in Namibia, it became kind of a favorite in our company. So all the strong high watt riders kind of push themselves, who can get it under 1 hour, who can get it under hour and a half, and it's really exciting to see it. And that was just done because on the leaderboard, right? So you just get angry on Strava when you see that they've beaten you, and now we want to push it into the next level, and the technology allows it. So Rouvy is right behind it. We want to see. I'm really curious what our users will say.
Yeah. I think one of the neatest takeaways for me from this conversation is the fact that the users themselves are part of the creators. Like I'm not sitting here waiting for a new route to pop up or this or that, or it's like if I want to create something, I could go out, or another user could go out and create the thing. That sort of interaction between your users and Rouvy is pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it's something we are really proud of. I mean, we almost doubled the amount of kilometers that we have on Rouvy and the amount of routes from all over the world. But something that I'm really proud about, because it's not just numbers. It's right now around almost 10% of all activities are done on the community routes. That means 10% of all the joy and all the pleasure that our users have is actually brought by the users. So our mission and our goal is to build it with the users, for the users. We don't want to build it alone. We are here to digitalize the entire world, and we need your help. And we want to be as supportive as we can on the route. And I think that's where the magic comes.
Also, it probably takes a load off your route creator team out there, eh? If you have users out there helping.
I mean, don't worry, they have still a shit ton of work to do. But what it
Yeah.
allows them is to focus on really some unique, specific places in the world, like whether it's New Zealand, Ireland. This is like those specific places where maybe you couldn't even get on your bike or on your car, and they can focus on like the unique premium experiences, which still brings something new to the platform. So we can. It's not
Yeah.
about replacing one another. It's about helping us focus on something that is not possible for everyone, it's just possible for a company. And then our users can help us in digitizing everything. As I said, some of the routes are on par with our internal team, and it's been less than a year. The quality keeps going up. We try to educate them. Sometimes they educate us back. So it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Okay. So before we wrap this up, just a few more questions for you. I assume Rouvy interacts with all the training programs out there, Strava, Training Peaks, all the things, and it works with all the smart bikes and smart trainers as well?
Yeah, we try to be as open as possible. So anyone that wants to cooperate us, we definitely go the extra mile. We're trying to make it as seamless for users. Actually, like in the H2 of this year, we kind of refocused ourselves on the hardware part. I already mentioned we are looking into the road field. We want to support what's the hardware providers are coming up with the technology, and we want Rouvy to be right next there with them and to be their partner to help them showcase the technology. And regarding whether it's Training Peaks, Garmin, Strava, I mean, our users use it. They need it. They need us to work on it. So we are there to support them.
Yeah, pretty much mandatory if you're going to get
Yeah, I mean,
guys like me and other competitive people on it.
we want you to worry only about how much your legs hurt. We want to take care of the rest.
Fair enough. A lot. The answer is a lot.
That's a lot. I will
Which
be
is
riding
perfect.
it. I will be riding in a bit, so I know it will hurt because I will be going it up the Cap de Fomenta with my brother. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Okay, Merrick Barton, before I let you go, one last question. You can only ride a single Rouvy route for the rest of your life. Which one is it going to be and why?
It's no answer. It will be the Souvlaki Desert in Namibia. I mean, it's 46 kilometers. It's 50 meters of elevation, but it's mostly 1% downhill. It's absolutely beautiful. Sand on the left, sand on the right. It's 1 hour and 10 minutes based if you have like 250 watts and normal weight. And it's just 1 hour of pure pain. There is nothing to distract you. It's something that it just grew on me. I found it, and I've never been able to look back. And we have so many amazing hills and downhills, but this route is just it's some form of a painful meditation for me. And I'm so
Yes.
glad that I've been able to share it with a lot of my colleagues, which were laughing at me. Why the hell you ride this route? And now they're riding it as well. So it's Souvlaki Desert, and I dare anyone to try it.
All right, everybody. Merrick Martin, thank you for the inside look at Rouvy. Everybody that's listening, go check out that route because it sounds pretty neat. That's what I'm going to do later today. And if you have any questions about Rouvy, put them down in the comments below, and maybe somebody will come and answer them for you. Merrick Martin, thank you for your time. That was super interesting. I am going to patiently wait for dragons and zombies to be chasing me up the hill. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.